welcome to episode 31 of the Owl About Yarn podcast. I'm Jenny, known as Owl About Yarn all over the internet on all the social media platforms, and I am so glad to be able to be talking to you today. It's been too long. It must be more than a month. So never ever let me name a podcast episode consistency again, because I obviously can't do it. So I am so sorry that I've been away so long. I don't know, well, it's April. It's April the 1st today. How is it April already? This year's flying past at an alarming rate of knots. We're already a quarter of the way through. I don't understand. It's just been so busy, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down. I can't decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but hey, there we go. Anyway, how have you all been? I have had the never-ending cough, which seems to be doing the rounds in South Wales at the moment. I think Zoe might have it at the moment. If you see her podcast that she's just released, I haven't watched it because it came out literally half an hour ago, but it's entitled Cough, so I think we can guess where that's going. All my kids have had it. My middle one, Ben, he was actually off school for a while and off tennis for quite a long time, which is totally unlike him. So some really nasty virus or other going round. However, we're all better now, and spring is finally on the way. The leaves are just about shimmering out into bud, or bursting out of the buds on the trees now, so that's lovely to see. And it's been so nice the last couple of weeks seeing all the blossoms coming out and the bulbs starting to flower. It really lifts your heart. And while the clocks going back were a bit of a shock to the system, shall we say, last weekend, it does mean that we've got lighter evenings, and I do enjoy lighter evenings because I like to go out for a walk with my husband when we can, after the kids are after the littlest one's in bed anyway. The older ones don't go to bed until a bit later now, but it is nice to be able to go out and it's still a little bit light. So, we look for our benefits and our consolations where we can. Been so tired all week though, and I blame it on that hour. And I can't remember where I saw it. Somebody said online they felt jet lagged. Now, I've never been jet lagged, but I felt really tired and confused all week. Is that how you feel when you're jet lagged? Because if so, that's me. Anyway, let's get into it. I have got so much to tell you about. I think I might have already said that. Confused, jet lagged. Since I last talked to you, I went on the lovely Jolie Kelly's retreat in Manchester. I went to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I'm well into the Wonderwool preparations for the upcoming festival, which is going to be 3 weeks now. So in 3 weeks from right now, I will be standing next to my stall, probably feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but really happy, and hopefully I'll have met lots and lots of lovely people again. Maybe you. Are you going to be going to Wonderwool? Let me know. Leave me a comment down below, or come and comment in the Ravelry group, in the episode thread, if you're going to be there. And if you're coming to Wonderwool, please come and say hello. I'm going to be on stall H6, the same place as last year. And make sure to introduce yourself as well, because I am terrible at remembering faces. I'm not brilliant at names either, but I really will want to talk to you all. So please don't be shy, come and say hello to us. So Jolie's retreat that I went to back in February, so more than a month ago now, it was brilliant. It was so good. I think it had been in planning for quite a long time, since about last April or May, I believe. But I really only found out about it late last year, and I only decided to actually go just before New Year. I think it was a couple of days before New Year's Eve I decided to go, and so I booked my train tickets, and Jolie offered me a spot in her little vendor market, So of course I took her up on that generous offer and chose my classes, and generally started to be very excited that this was only going to be 6 weeks away. So of course, as the rest of the year has gone, that 6 weeks flew past. And then Storm Doris hit, and the knitters all going to the retreat all around the country were facing weather reports saying, stay home unless your journey is absolutely essential. And we're all there, because we talked about it when we were there, we're all there going, well, of course it's essential, it's knitting, it's a knitting retreat, it's essential journey, it's fine. I had it a lot easier than some people. There were a couple of people who, well, there were a few people who came from London, or the London area, or through London, and they had huge delays on the Northwood trains because they shut the station. Was it Euston or King's Cross? Euston, I think. They shut the stations because Storm Doris was wreaking such havoc in between London and Manchester. They just stopped the trains running because they had to clear lines and make sure it was all safe and everything. But this meant there was a huge backup of people waiting for trains in London, and they shut the station because it got too full. And so people were really dedicated to get to Manchester on time, but they did manage to get there. And it was an interesting journey. So first of all, let me show you the suitcase that I took with me and the backpack. That is my biggest suitcase. I'm not sure that you can fully appreciate the size of the suitcase that I took. I could have taken Erin in it and most of her toys. This is the sort of suitcase you can't take on a plane because there's no way you're going to get it under the baggage allowance limit. No way. I could fill it with fluffy pillows and it'd be over the baggage limit. Well, anyway, I'd filled it as full as I could with yarn and project bags. And the lovely Zoe, hi Zoe, had lent me some Space Saver bags so that I could really roll all the air out and cram it all in, and I really did. And one of these Space Saver bags, I swear to God, they're still down here, I haven't given them back yet, you could put a body in it. It was so big. If it had been thermally insulated in any way, I could have just slept in there, never mind booking into the travel lodge. Anyway, so I had this massive suitcase and I had a massive backpack because I think I allowed myself the side pockets of the backpack for my my overnight stuff and spare clothes and such like. The rest was just all stock and knitting needles and wool and, you know, the essentials. So got onto the train at Cardiff, no problems. They were reporting no delays, it was fine. But the train up to Manchester from Cardiff is not very nice. Now the journey is actually really picturesque for quite a lot of the way because you go up the Welsh border more or less. And so there's lots of countryside and lovely views, apart from when there's a massive storm going on, and then it's not such a nice view. But so all the way to Shrewsbury, which is about 2/3 of the way, they were saying, no, there's no delays, we're all fine. And I went and I looked on the internet on my phone and I saw that it said the train I was on is not going to Manchester. So I was thinking, well, what are they going to do? This is the end of the line. It just said not stopping. I thought, what are they going to do? Am I going to have to jump? You know, what do they expect me to do? So I stopped the conductor and I said to her, look, this is what Arriva Trains Wales website's saying, what's going on? So she said, look, and she was quite condescending. I mean, she'd probably been asked 15 times by the time she got to me already, but look, if this train wasn't going to Manchester, I'd be the first to know. So, we're going to Manchester. 5 minutes later, we arrive in Shrewsbury station. There's an announcement over the tannoy from this conductor saying, this train is terminating at Shrewsbury. Please will everybody leave the train and proceed to the far end of the platform and get on the train that's waiting there. This will take you on to your final stop. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. First to know. So I drag off the massive suitcase. Now, up until this point, it had been a comfortable train, it was reasonably clean, which hasn't always been the case when I've been on an Arriva train. I had a seat, I wasn't crammed in, there was Wi-Fi. This was practically like first class luxury compared to other journeys I've had. So I get off the train, drag my suitcase up the platform, and there's this full train and then another train full of people trying to get on. So I end up sitting on my massive suitcase in the corridor by the toilet, crammed around, or surrounded by a whole host of other people who couldn't get into the main carriages either and who were stuck in the corridor area. So we go a few more stops up the line, get to Crewe, which is about 3/4 of the way, about an hour outside Manchester. Another announcement comes up, everybody off the train. Brilliant. Except this time they didn't tell us where to go. So everybody starts getting off the train, and we stand on the platform and we're thinking, well, where are we supposed to go? What's going on? Where are we, where are we going? Somebody needs to tell us what's going on. They'd fenced off part of the station because I think they were worried, was that Crewe? No, I might be remembering this wrong now. Okay, never mind about that. So, we're all crammed onto this station and there's just nowhere to go. Crewe is a reasonable sized station, but the platforms aren't that big, the same as pretty much any other station around here. So we're all just waiting, and a lot of people are getting quite grumpy because they'd been delayed for a lot longer than me. After about 10 minutes, they decided we could all get back on this damn train that we'd just got off. So back on we get. Except this time, there wasn't room in the corridor for me and my massive, massive suitcase, which is the size of a small container of a container ship. So I had to wiggle it into the carriage, into a luggage area, and then sort of hover over it. Because when I was sitting on it, I was sitting on it sideways. I'd put it down sideways. But when it's upright, it's too high for me to sit on. So I had to sort of hover, leaning on it. And then there's somebody with a buggy who had to push the buggy into the carriage, effectively blocking that end of the carriage. And then there was another buggy in the corridor behind me. So nobody was going anywhere. So I was so glad that I was going to be going all the way to the end of the line, because there's no way I would have been able to get off the train with my backpack and this massive suitcase before the end of the line. So I got to Manchester, managed to get off the train, got to the Travelodge. The people at the Travelodge were lovely, told me scare stories, mind, about how shop signs had fallen off and hit people, and a window in the street next to us had randomly fallen out in the middle of the storm, and they'd only just opened the street next to us, and I was thinking, oh my god, you know, I got to go back out in this. But I was obviously, I'm here, I was fine. No windows fell out and hit me, no shop signs fell off the wall and knocked me out. It was all good. Travelodge was very pleasant, it was clean, tiny little room, but there was only me, so it didn't matter. There was a kettle, which you'll see why that was important when I get to talking about Edinburgh. But it was really good, so I went off, had a little meet up with some people at Ziffer Black where the retreat was going to be. I think it was planned to be a little bit of a bigger meet up, but because of the weather a lot of people were delayed and they didn't get in until later in the evening or first thing the following morning, so there was, I can't even remember. I mean, we are talking about 6 weeks ago here now, people. There were at least a dozen, I'd say. So we went and met some people and had a lovely evening, and then I went home, Travelodge. And then the following morning I had a double knitting class with Nathan Taylor, who is Sockmatician. I'm sure that you will watch his podcast, and I'm sure he doesn't watch mine, but if he ever does, hi Nathan, nice to see you again. And he was such a good teacher. I would be a rubbish teacher because I've got no patience, but he was such a good teacher. He was so patient and so well ordered with how he showed us to how he helped us to master double knitting. I mean, we only had a couple of hours, and it is quite fiddly when you've not done it before, but I did do it, and I'm inserting pictures right now to show you what I made, because I can't find where I put it. I've put it somewhere really safe and I don't remember where that is, so I'm going to show you pictures now. So I can now double knit. I'm a double knitter. Ha ha! So that was really cool, and like I say, Nathan was lovely to talk to. He's just so natural and genuine. What you see on the podcast is just how he is when you meet him, which was really nice. So that was that, and then was it that afternoon or was it? I've lost track. But I also did a class with Carrie Westerman, and she taught us about pattern design, and not about the actual creation of the design, but about getting it into magazines and how it needs to be presented, and how to find where magazines and online resources are asking for pattern submissions and things like that. And it was really good. I got so much useful information. Now, I'm not entirely sure that pattern designing for magazines or books or such like is the way forward for me, but I was really interested in the process, so it was a really good class to take. And I am interested in pattern design for myself to help with selling my yarn, because I know that a lot of people like to have the patterns and the yarn to put together, that, you know, and the yarn that's recommended in the pattern. So that was really, really good. And I really enjoyed that class. And again, it was another lovely group of people, so that was brilliant. And then we had a social evening, and on the Saturday there was a mini market, and there was me, there was Sylvie from Phileas Yarns, there was Grace from Beyond Measure, who else have I forgotten? Oh, there was Emily Folds from the Yarn Loft. Oh, I might have that wrong. I will check. But anyway, that was a busy afternoon. It was sort of, because it was more or less just for the people at the retreat, it hadn't been widely publicised outside the retreat. It was sort of a massive flurry at the beginning where the room was crammed, and then it sort of petered out, so we closed down a little bit early, but that was absolutely fine because it gave me a bit more time to not have to panic about shoving it all back in the suitcase and getting to the station. So me and my massive suitcase went back to the station. No massive weather delays on the way back or weather issues, but the train was absolutely filthy. It was covered in rubbish, it was disgusting, and I was so glad to get home. I really wish there was an easy way to get to Manchester without using that train line, because I haven't had a good journey. That's 4 I've had now since November, up and back. 2 up, you know what I mean? I've been up and back twice, and every one of those 4 journeys there's been something wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to see if I can go out as far as Bristol and then go up, or something like that, but I've got a feeling that adds quite a lot of time onto the journey, and probably quite a lot of money as well, so we'll see. Anyway, that was brilliant, and I really, if Jolie said that she might not be doing any more retreats, but if she does, I'd really recommend that you go on them, because it was so much fun. And that's the second retreat that I've been on, if you don't count the business course thingy that Jolie ran in November. But I obviously went on the Geeky Puffin Knitpalooza in November as well. And I've just had the best time at both of them, because you're surrounded by people who get what you're into, and it's just lovely. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for more retreats to attend. If you know of any, let me know, because who knows, I might be interested. But I'm always interested to hear about them, even if I can't get to go. So next I want to talk to you, no. So at Jolie's retreat, I didn't take part in the yarn swap. and I didn't buy anything at the market because I was on my own stall, so I was a bit busy. But I did get a goodie bag, and while I might have taken all the things out of the goodie bag because it was quite a few weeks ago, I wanted to show you the actual goodie bag, which I've been using as a project bag. Look, if I can't take my knitting, I'm not going. That is so me. That's so apt. So this has been pretty much constantly in use since I got home from the retreat. Lovely little drawstring bag. It's just such a good size for a sock project, or I've been knitting up some sample squares for the stall at Wonderwool, and it's a really good size to just have some little mini balls of yarn in the bottom and some knitting needles and just crack on with it wherever. So yeah, that was really nice. Thank you, Jolie. What's next? Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Seriously, people, my mind is not my own this week. Edinburgh. Edinburgh was amazing. We were mildly hysterical through lack of sleep pretty much the whole time, but we just had the best time. So I went up with Zoe, who is one of my BFFs, and we travelled up at ridiculous o'clock in the morning on the Thursday. We flew up, so that was quite good because obviously just a really short journey, and she lives really close to Cardiff Airport, so I went to her house the night before, and then we got up at silly o'clock in the morning and got in a taxi and went to the airport, straight through, no problems. Got into Edinburgh, and I had requested an early what's the phrase? I'd requested to have our room early, and I'd said that's fine, I'll pay a supplement for it, because I knew that we'd be absolutely shattered because we were arriving into Edinburgh at about 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Or was it 7? 7. We got in at 7 in the morning. So I thought we could go to our hotel room, because the hotel was sort of between the airport and the city, dump our bags, have a bit of a nap, and then go off and have the rest of the day in the city. But it didn't quite work out because they didn't have a room available when we went to check in. But they did let us leave our suitcase, and we shared a suitcase, so they let us leave our suitcase there, so we just had to take our handbags then. And it was basically one cup of tea to the next for that day, just caffeine fueled through the day. We went and had a look. It was Zoe's birthday, so we went and had afternoon tea for lunch, because why not? We went and had a look at the Scottish National Portrait Gallery, which was beautiful. We had a good wander around the new town, and then in the afternoon, as soon as we could, we went to the hotel and checked in and had an hour's sleep. And then we got up and we went to Akva, which is I want to say a Swedish bar. It's definitely Scandinavian. And that was where the pre-festival knit night was going to be, and it was absolutely rammed. Now, Zoe has already talked a lot about the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I'm sure everybody else that you watch was probably at Edinburgh, because that's what it felt like. You know, it was just streams and streams on my podcast list of podcasters who'd been to Edinburgh, so I'll try not to talk about it too much. I'll just give you the highlights. But yeah, this bar was rammed. There had to be a couple of hundred people in there, and they got 2 people on the bar, and everybody in front of us wanted cocktails, so I think it took about 40 minutes to get a drink or something ridiculous like that. And then there weren't any seats, so we had to go up to some lovely people and say, would you mind if we shared your table? But we got to see some lovely people. I got to say hello to Nathan again, and who else did I see? I saw Katie Lavelli from Inside Number 23, but I can't remember if I introduced myself to her then or the next day. But loads of podcasters went to that one as well. I met Jill. Hi, Jill. which was so nice because we've chatted online so much. So she is Bertie and Poppet online, and she sells project bags, gorgeous project bags on Etsy, so go and have a look at her. And then we were really pretty knackered, so we weren't going to be going out for a posh meal to celebrate Zoe's birthday. We went to the supermarket, and according to her wishes, we bought a bed picnic, and we went back to the hotel room, spread it all out on the bed, got into our pyjamas and just dived in. And we both like completely different foods, it turns out. So she had her stinky olives and I had my, I can't remember what I had, brioche rolls probably, or something like that. And yeah, it was really good. The hotel room was comical. So I'd booked a twin room, and it was, in theory, a twin room. However, the two single beds had been pushed together, but we had a duvet each, so it wasn't like a shared duvet over two singles, but they were literally pushed together. And then there was a piece of plywood or MDF or something, which was about the depth of a pillow by about that high, in between our pillows. And this is what made it a twin room. And we're like, well, okay, fine. It's just as well we don't feel particularly awkward around each other. And it only got funnier. Then we turned round and we see there isn't a separate bathroom. The ensuite is in the room. So the wash basin was next to my bed. In between the bed and the wash basin was the shower door, directly into the shower, not into a separate room, with frosted glass over the middle third of the glass, so that your most personal areas wouldn't be on view to anybody in the room. I mean, what the hell? So we both had to sit facing the other way while we were in the shower to give each other a little bit of privacy. The toilet was off by the door to the room, and that did have its own little room. However, it was like a school toilet in that there was a gap at the top and at the bottom. There was no lock on the toilet door. It only fastened with a magnet, kind of like a cupboard door. So I just sang when I went to the loo. If we were in the middle of a conversation, we could carry on chatting, you know, we should look at the bright side. It was it was very intimate. I was there thinking, thank God that I hired this room, having known Zoe for years already and being really good friends and be able to have a laugh about it. Because what if I'd arranged on Ravelry with somebody that I only knew online to share this twin room, and then rocked up to this very not private twin room with a relative stranger? Oh, that would have been really, really... yeah, that would have been really uncomfortable. I would have had to go and sit in reception every time they wanted to go to the loo or something. It would have been really bad. Anyway, it all worked out. And really the only major downside, the only thing that made us really, really grumpy about that hotel room, was that there was no kettle. And we are powered by caffeine. And they wanted £1.50 for a very small, very lacklustre cup of tea from reception. And I'm not getting up in my pyjamas to go to reception to pay £1.50 for a very lacklustre cup of tea. So we had to get up and out in the morning without any caffeine at all, which was very, very difficult. I'll know better for next time. I am checking. I am never assuming again that just because it's a big chain hotel or anything like that, I am never assuming that they're going to give me a kettle. I am going to pack a travel kettle if I cannot have it in writing that there will be tea making facilities there. Which made me think, so in America I know that you don't have kettles the same way that we have electric kettles because of some voltage issues. So when you're in hotel rooms, do they give you drink making facilities over there? Do you get a coffee maker, or I don't know, do they give you something like that? Because it's fairly standard in Britain, isn't it? It's not just me. Generally you will get tea and coffee making facilities included in a room. Yeah, anyway, that made me wonder then about America and whether, and the rest of the world, but I know especially America, they don't do proper amounts of electricity, so you can't have a proper kettle. Yeah, I'm not sure I could live in America without a proper kettle. We'd have to come to some arrangement. But anyway, the actual festival was fantastic. It was so busy. I think the only festival I've ever been to that was that busy was the Knitting and Stitching show in Alexandra Palace in London. But this was an entirely different vibe. This was a very friendly feeling. It felt like you sort of almost half knew everybody there. And so many people, well, I did know quite a lot of people. I was surprised by how many people I actually knew and was able to stop and have a conversation with. And I suppose that's just from all the people that I've met over the past year or two. That's really widened my community, and that was brilliant. You didn't feel like an anonymous face moving around it, which was just really friendly. That's the best word I think to describe it. So I did all my shopping on the first day, and I'm going to show you what I bought. And I'm not having separate sections so much this time because there was just too much to talk to you about. So I'm giving myself about an hour, and whatever I haven't told you at the end of the hour, you're just going to have to wait. Because, there's only so long that I can try and catch up with you on. So anyway, I treated myself to 2 skeins of Old Maiden Aunt Aran Weight Blueface Leicester. Yeah, they're both blue. I should be able to say Blueface Leicester without putting extra L's in there, shouldn't I? Seems I dye the stuff. But look, oh, that's pretty good for the colours. Look, isn't that lovely? And of course, it's my colours. It's turquoise and it's purple. And I was actually wearing my shawl that I made from Sarah's Texture Crafts yarn, and mine. I did the border in mine, but mainly hers. And it was these colours, and I'm picking these yarns up, going, oh, I love these, I love these. And Zoe's just looking at me going, okay. Of course I bought these colours. This is my, look, see, it goes with this. It's almost identical, which is hand spun, in case you haven't watched before. This is my Hitafude, made out of hand spun yarn, which I got the fibre from Sarah's Texture Crafts, and it's a merino and silk, if you can see. Oh, the lighting really is terrible today, I apologise for that. But anyway, yeah, this is my colour, this sort of deep purple. And turquoise is my summer colour, so I must have been feeling as if summer was on the way to buy a sort of turquoisey purple. Spring, because it's halfway in between winter and summer. So yes, I've got, this one is called What's Your Damage? And this one is called Derelict Daughter. Dad, if you're watching, I don't want any comments on that. Thank you very much. I was very restrained actually this year with my purchases, and I only bought 4 skeins of yarn. I didn't have any plans for anything going into it. I didn't line up projects or anything. I just thought, no, you can always find projects, so I thought, no, I'll just be sensible. I'm not going to buy 52 skeins of sock yarn and never have enough time to knit 52 pairs of socks or 52 shawls, but I'll buy what I fancy. So this one, the label's fallen off and I don't know what I've done with it, but it's from Phileas Yarns, and I believe it feels to me like merino base, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was merino and nylon, because it's reasonably high twist. Anyway, I'll find the label at some point and then I'll update the show notes when I do. But this is a little bit greener than it's coming out. It's a lovely turquoise. So again, my colours. And we were standing talking to Sylvie because we met her at Yarningham last year, Zoe and I. So we were standing and having a chat with her at the end of Sunday, I think, or towards the end of Sunday. And my eyes just kept getting drawn to this skein. So I thought, yeah, do you know what, I've got to have it. It's obvious that it wants to come home with me. So there we go. and I think it's called Azure or something oceany. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look for the label, but it's not in my bag. I've been keeping everything in a Ziploc bag together so that I wouldn't lose it. Then I managed to lose it. The last skein of yarn was very unlike me. I don't generally go for natural shades. I generally am drawn by vibrant colours and merinos, Blueface Leicester, the sort of things that you know aren't going to be scratchy, have no sort of, I don't do halos or mohair or anything like that, you know. But we stopped at the Daughter of a Shepherd stall and it was just really appealing to me. So I bought a skein, and I bought, there you go, there's the tag, and it's gone so dark, but it's a very dark chocolatey brown. If I can get it, get behind me. And it is 75% Hebridean and 25% Zort balls, and a 4-ply or a fingering weight. And it's quite hairy. Can you see that? Can I get, oh look at that, there we go. And I know I can't wear Zort balls next to my skin, but the Hebridean seems to be softening it up. So I have no idea what this is going to become. This is my pet yarn for the time being, and I'm just going to sort of look at it every now and again and wonder. And one day inspiration will strike, and then I'll know what it's going to be. But until then, there's no rush. But they were really interested. We chatted to all the people on the stalls who weren't too busy to talk. And everybody, like I said, was just so lovely. So lovely. So, I also bought buttons, and I've put them down somewhere. Oh, I can see them. I can see the spare one anyway. Bear with. I've just got to go over to the other side of my office, rescue the spare button. Always buy an extra button. Wouldn't you agree? If you're buying buttons for a cardigan, you should always buy one extra. So, if you please excuse the dye on my hands, because my hands are all sorts of colours at the moment. That is my spare button from the ones that I bought for my Milk Stout cardigan, and I got them from Textile Garden, which, if I can find the card, here we are. There we go, there's the card, and there is the website. It's lovely to be able to poke around all the little pots of buttons and things that they have on their stall. It's so nice. While I've got this in my hand, I treated myself to some a ChiaoGoo spin cord, and then twist lace tips. So I think the theory is they'll go together, the person on the stall told me, and then the cable doesn't kink because the needles at this bit can move around at the end of the cord. I'll let you know. So I bought 3.5mm needles, which, because of my being a very loose knitter, that's probably pretty much the size that I would use for knitting double knit. Although my cardigan was Aran, and I ended up using 3.5mm needles for that, so who knows. But I also treated myself to a 3mm fixed circular lace needle on the red ChiaoGoo cords. So I love getting new needles. There's something about using new needles. Now, I was an unofficial member of the Podcast Lounge because I didn't actually apply, and Louise from the Knit British podcast noticed that I was a podcaster and that I was going to be at Edinburgh not that much before the actual festival. So she said, well look, I'll put you down for it, but you know, it's too late for the lanyards and the stuff. But anyway, I went, and Zoe was in the podcast lounge, and so she had the fancy lanyard and everything. That was really cool. But I did get a sample of Blacker Samite, which is their new yarn, and this colourway is Burnished Night. Isn't that a lovely deep red? But they were giving samples out to all the podcasters to review, so I'm planning on knitting something teeny tiny. I don't think I'm going to put it in my blanket because I want to kind of keep it as a memento. So I'm going to work out the yardage of it because I've got the label, so I know how many yards. There are 460 metres in a 100-gram ball, because I've got a ball band that they gave us as well. And it's a silk blend with 20% silk and 80% pure new wool. So what I'm thinking is I want to do a little owl puff or a I don't know, just something I can hang up on my wall here that will be a little bit decorative. Maybe one of those little lovebird things. I've seen a little pattern. They're just little, really simple little stuffed. Something nice, or even just a little heart. But I want to knit it up and then I can tell you how it feels when I'm using it and how it feels when it's finished and all of this sort of business. So that would be really cool. But they also gave me a sample card. Oh, it's got the story on the back. Shall I read some of it to you? Samite is our homage to the history of textile manufacturing. With 15 shades inspired by the pre-Raphaelite and arts and crafts movement, and colour names selected from late 19th century poetry, we wanted to pay tribute to the value Victorians placed on unique and thoughtfully crafted objects. The very special silk content of Samite inspired us to name the range after the opulent woven silk fabrics produced in medieval Europe. So, it is 30% smooth, drapey Blueface Leicester, with the bouncy froth of 40% Shetland, and the gilt-free luxury of 20% Ahimsa silk, and 10% of fibre from Sue Blacker's own Gotland flock. So, and it's a 3-ply yarn. But yeah, some really good names. Bursting Figs, Aspen's Shiver, Swallow's Soar. Yeah. So what do you think? Leave me a comment if you have any ideas about what I could knit with my teeny tiny little sample, just so I can tell you how it knits up, and then in the next podcast, in about a year and a half, I'll be able to tell you how it went. Ooh, I like that green. Look at that. The one at the bottom. Old Yew. Can you see that? I like that green. Anyway, so thank you very much to the people at Blacker Yarns for giving us those samples. That was really kind. Now, my indulgence. I went to Aileen Clark Crafts, and that's her website. Having seen a brooch that Cece bought, Cece from Java Pearl Designs and the Geeky Girls Knit podcast, I really, really liked it. And so when I spotted the stall, I made a beeline and I bought myself a brooch. And it's needle felted and embroidered. And look at that! So pretty. How clever is she to do that? I mean, oh, it's just lovely. She had such lovely stuff as well. We bought for Ellie from the Tuthing Brim podcast. We bought a little set of coasters which had pictures of the needle felted creations that she's made, well, like needle felted landscapes on. So we bought Ellie those for her new house. I can't remember if Zoe bought anything. I don't think she did. She liked quite a lot of the things. But yeah, that was something that was actually on my list to go and get. So it's pretty much the only thing that was on my list to go and get. So I was really glad when I saw that. And I think, oh no, I bought 2 books. I knew Kate Davis was going to be there and she was going to have a stall with all her books, and I was umming and ahhing about whether I wanted her newest book or her book about yolks. But in the end I decided I would have her newest book, inspired by Islay. Hopefully I've said that right. Anyway, I'm sure you forgive me. And she was there, and she signed it. That's amazing. She was, yeah, it was so lovely to see her. I've been reading her blog for years, so to actually see her in the flesh was really nice. And Zoe was wearing a cardigan designed by her, and she was nearly passing out with the heat, but she was determined that she was keeping this cardigan on until after Kate Davis had seen it. So it was almost the second she left the store sort of came off like, oh, so hot. But no, that was really nice. And then the other book I bought, which I thought some of my yarn would... It's a pattern book. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm looking through the patterns thinking, ooh. I saw some of the samples hanging up and I thought, do you know what, I reckon that could work in a tonal or a variegated yarn. So I bought the book because I couldn't choose one pattern. So it's by Lucy Haig, Celtic Cable Shawls. And look, if I just show you, where's the one so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 patterns in here, and I really want to knit first. Well, I really want to knit all of them because, you know, why wouldn't I? But look at this little shawlette. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful. And then, yes, look, this one. So a variegated, where the brown bits are, and then a semi-solid tonal for the cabley bit. And I thought that would look really, really nice. And I'm always looking for patterns to show off my yarn. So I asked her, I said, would you mind if I knitted the yarn? I'm a yarn dyer, would you mind if I knitted something up and put it on my stall? I'll email you before I do it. She said, yeah, sure, of course. So that was cool. But yeah, I was pretty restrained, I think. I'm sure I've forgotten something that I bought, but I don't think there was anything at the actual festival that I bought that I've forgotten about. Went and bought shortbread for the kids in fancy tins. Bought a bottle of whiskey for the husband in a not fancy bottle, but he didn't mind. Then, well, on the Sunday we just sort of ambled around the old town, and it was just such a lovely break, such a lovely weekend. So many laughs, met so many beautiful people, loads of podcasters in the podcast lounge. We got to spend some time with Cece and Dammy, which was really nice because they were so busy on their stall. I knew I wouldn't have had a chance to sit down and chat, but before the festival, Cece had asked if we'd like to go and have dinner with them, so we went and we had dinner in their house on the Friday night, which was really kind of them, rather than having a bed picnic for another night in the hotel. But yeah, it was really nice to sit down and chat with them and just get to spend a little bit more time, you know, because you know, you get to know people when you talk online reasonably well, but there's nothing to beat sitting down with a cup of tea with somebody and really chatting to them one-on-one, is there? So that was really nice. All in all, I can't wait for Edinburgh next year, and I would like to say that I'm absolutely definitely going to be there. Obviously circumstances might get in the way, but I absolutely definitely want to be there, and I would recommend it to any of you. Oh my days, I'm at 48 minutes already. See, this is what happens, people. Right, let's move on. First of all, I want to announce a knit-along. Exciting. So, over and over and over again, you'll have heard me talking about my two best friends, Zoe and Ellie. Zoe has the Pins and Needles podcast, and Ellie has the new Tuddin Bryn podcast, which is talking about her crafting creations and also how they are building themselves a new home in West Wales and with the intent of living there, but she shows what they're doing from podcast to podcast and the updates, and also some pictures of her gorgeous little boy. So we don't get to see each other as much as we'd like, especially now Ellie's gone back to work after maternity leave, and we thought it'd be really nice if we could host a joint cow, so that it's it's almost like spending time together. It's all doing the same thing, isn't it? It's the same purpose. So we were going to call it the Three Musketeers, Cal. And then we decided that was a bit long for hashtags and such like. So I said, what about Three Amigas? So it's like the Three Amigos, but Three Amigas. So that's what it's going to be, the Three Amigas, Cal. Now, the start date is today. So you can get going straight away. You don't have to wait at all, which is such a plus side. You can do any woolly craft, pretty much, that you like. It's spring related, Cal. So just tie it in, even if it's just you made it in the spring. We're not allowing whips. And we would like the finished objects to be 200 metres or more, or use 200 metres or more of yarn. However, if you make lots and lots of smaller projects, you can bunch them all together in one submission post until they get to 200 metres. So the chat thread is going to be in Zoe's group, in the Pins and Needles podcast group. The finished objects thread will be in my group. So I'll put a thread up for that after I've put the podcast episode thread up. And the prize announcement thread, because there's going to be prizes, will be in Ellie's group. So we all get a look in. You have to be a member of all three groups. That is really important, and we will not give a prize to somebody who isn't a member of all three groups. So please go and join the other two if you're not already a member, and make sure that you're watching their podcast as well, because they are awesome people. They are the best friends in the world. You can't have them because they're mine. But I feel sorry for you because you can't have them. What else did I have to tell you? That was it. I'm going to put links to their podcast groups and their podcasts in the show notes, and if I remember, below the YouTube video in my YouTube channel, so you should be able to find them all nice and easily. The hashtag is, as I said, 3Amigas Cal. We will love to see you posting your progress on Instagram. And that's it, I think. Any questions, give us a shout. We're each donating a prize, to be determined as yet. But I dare say there might be wool involved, there might be project bag, there might be stitch mark. You never know. You never know. It depends how happy we're feeling. And I've got Wonderwool in the middle, so I'm probably going to be pretty happy by the end of May. And that's about it. Yes, so 3Amigas Cal. Go to it. Let's have some fun. What else? Oh, Ellie gave me a project bag. She saw this fabric and went to buy the bags, and they'd sold out, but she got in touch with the lovely lady at Thimble and Thread and custom ordered 3 matching bags. So the 3Amigas have matching project bags now. And look, how perfect is that for me? Look at that fabric. Ah, it's amazing. And it's a really nice size. I don't have anything in it at the moment. I've got the yarn that I've already used for my sample knitting, so there's nothing to show you inside. But it's a gorgeous little drawstring, and it's got a claspy thing as well to keep it shut. It has a little wrist strap. It's perfect. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you so much. So this is going to be getting a lot of use. And before very much longer, I'm going to be going and seeing Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in London. This is definitely going to have to come with me on that trip. Definitely. Definitely. The only work in progress that I want to show you this week is my 100 Acre Shawl. I cast this on since the last time I talked to you. My son had a work experience day on the set of the TV show Stella, which you might know if you're in the UK. It's shown on Sky One with Ruth Jones and that, but it's all filmed in South Wales. And a friend of a friend works for the production company and managed to get him a day of shadowing the director, which was amazing. And I needed something to knit that wouldn't really require much thought. And the beginning of this doesn't require an awful lot of thought, so it was perfect. I've not done an awful lot so far, but this is it. So look, I'm just on the 3rd lace section, and I'm knitting it out of my yarns. So the pink one, which is sparkly. Oh, are they both sparkly? Do you know, I can't tell. I'm going to have to check. I don't think they are. The pink one's sparkly, and it's called Galactic Princess. And it isn't in my shop yet, but if you're interested, give me a shout and we can sort out custom listing. Otherwise, it's coming to Wonderwall with me. And this is it in the skein. So I can show you there. Can you see the sparkle as I do that? Oh, love sparkly yarn. And then the other one is in the shop at the moment. I believe there's 1 or 2 skeins left, and it's Temptation. And that's the purpley one with little pink bits in it. It's not that blue. It's a lot more lilac than it's showing up. But it's sort of lilac with speckles. Anyway, please excuse the state of my nails. I've got dye underneath them and it won't come out. I'm not filthy. It's dye. And once you get it on your hands, that's it for days. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this pattern. Have you seen it before? It was really popular, I think, towards the end of last year. It's one of Helen Stewart's patterns, and that's the picture on the front of the pattern. But I think it's going to be such a lovely wearable shawl in 2 of my favourite colours. So hopefully I'll get some more of that knitted. I won't get it finished before Wonderwall now, I can say that for certain, because there's just going to be too much work to do, but it should be ready in time to wear in the summer evenings. Oh, I've got 2 weddings coming up in the summer. Perhaps I can get it finished in time to wear to one of those. Actually, the 2 weddings are a week apart. What are the odds? The last wedding I went to was Ellie's wedding, which is going to be, is that 3 years ago? 3 years ago, I think. Is it 3 years ago, Ellie? In August. That's the last wedding I go to. And then literally, like buses, 2 come at the same time, almost. A week apart. Anyway. So, what else did I want to do? Oh, finished objects. I'm going to save my finished objects to show you next time because I am running out of time and I really don't want to go very far over the hour mark. Suffice it to say, I finished my milk stout, but it is in a timeout corner because gauge lies, and especially vertical gauge lies, and so it's a bit too big through the shoulders, and I'm sitting letting it think about what it's done. But I think I'm probably going to have to frog the collar and button band and undo it pretty much all the way down to where I join the sleeves on for the yoke and do it again. But I really want the cardigan, so I'm going to have to do it again, no matter how painful it is. But it needs to take some time to think about what it's done before I'll go back to it, so it's just sitting in a corner feeling sorry for itself right now. I've also finished a little bit of spinning, but I haven't soaked it and thwacked it and done all the things yet, so it's a bit kinky in a kinky, wibbly way, not in a... anyway, you know what I mean. So I'll show you that next time if I remember, and if not, there'll be pictures on Instagram. The very last thing that I want to say to you is that I am going to be taking part in, sort of half-arsedly taking part in the hashtag SSSVida, which is Video Every Day in April. But because I know I'm not going to have time to podcast before Wonderwall, and because I really miss talking to you guys, and I get out of the habit, and then I'm too scared to come and do it again because I think I'm just... I don't know why, but I just don't come and do it, and I put it off, and then we get to 6 weeks like it has been now, so it's just silly. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to record a couple of, or 1 or 2, or maybe even 3, 1 minute long videos each day, take all the pictures as well, and they're going to be going up on Instagram, and then at the end of each week I plan to stitch them together and make a bit of a vlog and put it onto my YouTube channel. So they won't be proper podcasts like this with me sitting down and talking to you in, I was just about to say in a structured manner. When have I ever done anything in a structured manner on this podcast? Oh, my days. Anyway, they won't be like this. They'll be more out and about or in the middle of work or whatever. But yeah, just more of a snapshot of my days. So hopefully you'll enjoy that, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll be something that I'll take forward and into something new in the future. Who knows? We'll see. But keep an eye open if you follow me on Instagram, and you should see these daily videos going up from tomorrow. So today, this is my video for today, and tomorrow I'm going to be dyeing hopefully about 4 kilos of yarn. So there should be some video of bubbling pots and yarn flapping in the breeze in my garden and things like that. Then finally, I have Cece and Dami Almond's new book to review, but I don't want to rush it. I want to do it justice, so I'm going to save that review for the next time I talk to you, or possibly for one of my short videos through the week. Or what I might do is record a segment with that review and then put it into my vlog. Either way, I want to do it justice. I don't want to rush it, and it would be rushed if I did it right now. And the book is going to be on sale forever. And if you know that you want it already and you haven't bought it, why not? It's a lovely book. I think I'm not giving anything away by saying that. Go and buy it. It's on amazon.co.uk and .com. And it's available on Ravelry as an ebook. So yeah, go and look at it. It's lush. And I think that is all that I have time to talk to you about today, because I really don't want this to drag on. It's already over an hour and I've got pictures to put in. So I'm going to say goodbye to you for now. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up underneath the video on YouTube, and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. And if you're not subscribed to my two best friends, to Tuthing Bryn and to Pins and Needles, go find them as well and subscribe, and then you get to see all three of us. What I want to make happen is some joint podcasts. Might not necessarily manage to make it be all three of us, although I'm aiming for that in the summer holidays. But like me and Zoe, me and Ellie, Zoe and Ellie, as we can all get together, we should definitely do something like that. So go and harass them about that, because that would be so much fun. We are mad as a box of frogs when we all get together, and we have so many laughs. I'd love to share that with you too. So I will hopefully see you tomorrow on Instagram. But if not, if you are waiting for me to come back here on YouTube, hopefully it will not be 6 weeks. Take care, happy knitting, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye. Thank you so much for watching my podcast. You can find me pretty much anywhere online as owlaboutyarn.com. I'd love it if you would give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future episodes of the podcast. See you soon.